So I feel I must cover this because I wrote extensively about this, I think, early last summer, maybe early spring, and about the Freemasons and the Catholic Church and all that because I wanted to incorporate that into my book about depopulation and the Georgia Guidestones and justifying the JJ mentality. And so I needed to also acknowledge the conspiracy world and all their fears and everything that I've been exposed to the last 10 years of my life because I started researching the conspiracy world ever since 2011 when I had a suspicion about Obama and why would he allow the mortgage crisis and all of that go down under his watch if he claims to be such a progressive president who's aware and transparent. And so I knew something was wrong when things were going wrong under someone who claims to be like the savior after George Bush and 9/11. Okay, so the whole thing with the Freemasons and the Catholic Church, I mean, I didn't know too much about Christianity. I mean, I knew a little bit about Judaism, but when I was writing about the Freemasons and trying to introduce that and the World Economic Forum and saying that Klaus Schwab was like the executive of the Freemason, I'm like, okay, I mean, there I couldn't substantiate that. Those were my theories, and so, but I went with it because it fit within my narrative, it fit within the whole Georgia Guidestones depopulation, and so so I wrote about the Freemasons, and now I'm bringing it all together, and now I'm seeing really the another big picture because we know about the Illuminati and MK Ultra. I see Netflix movies on about it all the time. Actually, one is called Hypnotic. Go watch that on Netflix. Okay, I won't say too much about it, so don't go off on a tangent. But there's a lot of stuff about MK Ultra, Illuminati, um, and Freemasons, and and there, the human sacrifice. Okay, you hear about like the stars when they become a star, they sign the blood contract so they can be propped up by Sony, all the different Illuminati companies, right? The music companies. They have to sacrifice somebody in order to get ahead, type of thing. And that also happens in the corporate world when it comes to competition. How many heads can you step on and how many necks can you step on and sacrifice so you can get to the top? I mean, it's all the same thing. And so but the Freemasons are part of the Knights Templar that happened between 1100 and 1300 because they were protecting King Solomon's temple, Jerusalem, okay, and also protecting the pilgrims that would go to Jerusalem, all the religious folk that were bowing down to their one God, their monotheistic God, or maybe a few other gods if you're pagan. I don't even know if paganism was back then, but people were bowing down to a one God, okay, back in 1100, and they're going to Jerusalem. And then there's King Solomon's temple. And then it turned into like a Catholic thing. It started doing into a Christian Catholic thing. Okay? And so that's where the merging of the Christianity and Judeo, because we're in a Judeo Christian world. People say that there's differences. There's not. I mean, I'm thinking that the Jews were actually saved when that one God that saved them from Egypt helped them out of Egypt into the land of Canaan. So the Jews were already saved a long time ago. Christians have already been saved because they came from the Jewish faith. Just because you didn't necessarily or lived in the world of the Jews, but you took on a Christian faith, you still came from Jesus was a Jew to begin with, okay? So there really isn't any difference between Christianity and Judaism. There's people that say there's a difference because they want to seem like they're different because they don't understand the balance of dark and light. And I'm seeing that now, what the balance of dark and light is. And no matter which way you go, if you believe you should end up in the dark like dead, And it's kind of the way of the world to balance out promoting life, but the sacrifice of many for the good of the few. You've heard that too. Do you have to be the sacrifice of many? Now you're given a choice. But let me tell you, not this information is not going to come across to many people. So it's okay for the sacrifice of the many for the good of the few. You could be the few, and you have a choice. Okay, so the Freemasonry and the Catholic Church are all under the same Sumerian pantheon, then graduated to the Greek pantheon, of which why then you see at the Vatican. I mean, when I was at Fatima, I told my husband I was watching Biden go to Rome and the Vatican. I'm like, those are the same pillars, those big tall buildings that are flanking the big Vatican. Those were the same pillars that were over in Fatima. I felt like I was actually, and went to Rome in Portugal, because that's actually, Portugal is the oldest European country in that whole union. And so it would make sense that Fatima would be there, okay? And so anyways, so Catholics are the same thing as Jews, and so they work together. So the Freemasons and the Catholics work together because they have a same, very similar history. They are trying to balance out Mother Nature, and so you have that whole Illuminati pyramid, which is the top, which is the monotheistic, then the polytheism, all the demigods, everyone that has their specific skills, and the Freemasons are the ones that go and figure out who has what skill for, for what. So if you are built like my husband and have been groomed by the community and by the parents and by education in that community, then my husband's going to be more of a laborer. Maybe he will be given access to college, but it's not where his head's at. It's not where he was raised at. College was not his thing. And so he went into more of the trades. And then you go somewhere like, so the Freemasons knew that this area was more for the trades. And then the two coasts, California and New York, and all points, on the coast, were more for the innovators, the thinkers. Not that the people in the Middle America couldn't think, but there's specific bioengineering that the Freemasons have figured out, because the Freemasons were then brought to surface around the 13th century. In the 13th century, they then figured out division of labor. They figured out who's going to do what. You're going to be a merchant, you're going to be a laborer, you're going to be a slave, and that's where the whole caste system comes from. In India, the Brahmins, all the way to the untouchables. It's all the same stuff, even in our, again, like in our society. You have the blue collar versus the white collar, okay? And so then I made a joke on Facebook about metaverse, that the more people that go on the metaverse and their virtual reality, their brains will be bigger. They'll be unlocking potential in their brains, because the amount of information that's going to be coming at you so quick is going to expand your brain. But then you really have to start building up your body. So luckily, I have the California and the food, the California thought process, the two coast thought process of innovation, taking in so much information, because eventually a genius, when you guys finally organize your body, mind, and spirit, geniuses take in so much information. Not sure where the information is going to go, but they take in so much information, and then eventually at some point it will organize. And so when you're on a metaverse type of thing, a virtual reality, and you're getting access to all this information at a moment's notice like that, it will expand your brain. Then you got to make sure you're eating the chimichangas and the meat, milk, cheese, eggs, and fruits and vegetables and all that stuff, so you can keep your body built up for your geographical location. So you're not turning into a big-headed metaverse dude with a tiny, puny body. I mean, people in California that are eating on their organic diets and are afraid of meat and milk and cheese and eggs and all of that, and they're on the metaverse, their heads can get bigger, but their bodies are going to get smaller. So we're going to have a bunch of people with big heads and small bodies. But at least in Ohio, they can kind of find a way to meet in the middle, More people stay at home and they do the JJ mentality, recalibrate their body, and they do the metaverse stuff, they can really expand their brain. But you see, like the born-again Christians right now, going through my newsfeed, they're against the whole metaverse. They're against anything bioengineering, but they're bioengineered themselves. And that's where then the whole split of like Neanderthal and humans, it seems that maybe more Neanderthals or more people that are more into lack of evolution are fighting the changes in our society. They're fighting everything that they think is going to destroy them. And so this is like that the Freemasons and the Catholic Church, nothing wrong with them. They're directing society. When you're nation building, you have to procreate. You bioengineer, you procreate, and you pull out the cream of the crop. When society and the world gets too big because of how they're directing society, trying to pull out the innovation and pull out the cream of the crop, then you have to find a way that is dignified to level the playing field. And so they realized through bioengineering that happened all the way back in antiquity, in the Sumerian pantheon, because we were bioengineered to begin with, and then we graduated into more of a diversification and a classification through the Greek system. But they figured out, instead of doing, using wars and World War II and genocide at a macro level, well, a virus can do the same thing and give people the choice. See, if they already had you programmed to think that antibiotics and doing surgeries and doing aggressive therapies is the way to deal with staying in a cured state, then a virus is only going to just compound that whole thought process. And you're going to take, the virus is going to accelerate your belief systems. So if you believe people should die and antibiotics are the only way and operations are the only way, then this virus is going to keep chipping at you, and you'll keep trying to resist the evolution, which means you'll take more of your operations, more of your pills, power supplements, and detoxes, and then you will cut your life exponentially. But when you're on the JJ mentality and you understand the power of food and salt, hey, Andrea, and you understand food and salt and meat, milk, cheese, and eggs and symptoms and viruses, then the viruses are going to accelerate your life. They're going to accelerate your intentions. Last night I was amping up. I mean, I was just going off on, all these different things about friends and about just about food and about animals and how people take care of their animals, and which is a very sensitive subject because everyone loves their animals. They claim to love their animals. Of course they do. But in this environment, if your animal isn't plugged in and dealing with this matrix, their life is going to be cut short. No different than the person who doesn't believe that people should live. And so, so I'm really taking this all back to you and the things that you claim to love. And yes, your animal is a very sensitive subject. So, but at this point, I don't care. This virus is accelerating my intentions to get through to you, whether it's brutally or logically. I'm not trying to honeycoat this. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. That's what I said a couple posts ago about sugar coating. Sugar, either sugar, C-O-A-T, or sugar, C-O-D-I-N-G. Because whenever you sugarcoat something and you wrap it up with oxytocin and love, 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 and light, 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 Andrea. I'm not bagging on you. But that's overall what I'm looking at is our society is built on trying to get resources from people any which way possible. And obviously, brutality is creating demons, and love, 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 and light, light, light is creating then angels. And people get hypnotized by angels more than they do from demons. Okay, so Shuggy, come on, Shuggy. Okay, you're okay. All right, and so that's the whole thing with why people think also the Catholic Church is satanic and all that, because they understand the light and the dark. They understand the balance of it. All the original Sumerian pantheon, they were part light and part dark. I mean, there's Lilith, the woman of the night, or Ninhursag, and then you have the other gods. One is Utu, the Lord or the God of the sun. Okay, so there's always light and dark, and so the Freemasons and the Catholic Church understand the balance of both. If you have too much light in life, it will destroy everything. You have too much darkness, there's nothing around. It'll destroy everything, right? Nothing's around. So you must have a balance of both. In order for you to know the light, you have to understand the dark. And also, at this point, in this modern society, give people the choice. But don't let the other people who are praying to the dark take everyone down with them. But in a way, like, okay, if you choose to go and drink and do drugs and all that, yes, balance is the way. People make their choices. If they have a bunch of people that they hang out with and they're all going downhill together, that's their choice. I mean, I am the balancing force that I think. Like my husband, he's more towards the mainstream. And so if he was married to someone that was exactly like him, she would cannibalize him. Okay? Because, you know, when you get everything you want, that's when you die. When you can get almost everything that you absolutely want, you will be cannibalized by everything that you get. So moderation, conservation, balancing your energy and the other person's energy, not taking more resources they can replenish, that's a balance in a relationship. When two people are totally just almost basically the same, it will be a race to the end. Okay, so the fact that I'm more about life and he maybe is more gearing towards the opposite because that's his belief system, I might be giving him a few years for the fact that I'm not giving in to every single thing that he absolutely wants. And so that's the balance of it all. And so understanding that it's okay to have the darkness. Just don't, if you don't believe in the darkness, then stay within your light stuff, but honor the darkness. And anyone that calls anyone satanic, okay, or dark, you better not be in an industry that's depleting someone's light. Because when you have light like a new virus, you don't try to destroy it, you feed it. And then the light of the salt and the light of your immune system will release any excess back into the atmosphere for someone else to take on and evolve to. Okay? But if you're in an industry that is really putting out people's light at the micro level and the macro level, then you can't afford to be like, I'm all about pro-life and I'm all light and love and this and that, da, 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 because your industry and what you do on a daily basis says the complete opposite. And so the whole Judeo Christian mentality is about aligning your body, mind, and spirit. Shugi, what are you looking? What are you? Okay. All right. You're just cleaners. All right. Whatever. So since it's been hot, pestilence has been crazy. So I'm being giving her baths and everything, because the oils in the dog's skin comes to surface, and then it attracts pestilence. And so keeping up on the pestilence, because I mean she doesn't have as many like she did a couple years ago, but through her different viral transducers with getting the seizures and going through her evolution stuff, she does release oils that do attract pestilence. So that's something to be aware of, you guys, for all of you who are dealing with the same thing. Well, here's the thing, Andrea Fox. I know that's probably what you do for a living. That's fine. Releasing demons, but it's more than just releasing demons. And I'm glad to see you again. It's also being able to feed those demons, because you don't want to release them without making sure that you're replacing it with the food and all of that stuff. And when someone releases demons but they're not replacing, then they lose a lot of substance, because those demons were keeping them alive. Okay? And that's the thing, when someone doesn't have an adequate replacement, like when you haven't let go of the glitchy viral programming and you're doing detoxes, because the same when you're releasing demons, like at a therapy, when you're doing detoxes, it's the same thing. When you're doing so much J juice but not then getting off the J juice and actually allowing the food supply to recode you and regenerate, then, or when you get off of alcohol, drugs like cold turkey, and people actually have a shorter life when they finally get off their alcohol and their drugs, because the body was depending on those demons. The body was gaining resources from those demons. Yeah, it was driving the person crazy, but it was keeping them alive. That's why drug addicts stay alive a lot longer than people who are healthier. Okay? And so it's more than releasing demons. It's replacing the entities where those demons were flourishing with your own body. It's not right. There's no right diet. No. It's hi John. My dog is driving me crazy with her. No, it's not a right diet. See, you haven't been following me too closely. You got to read my pinned post. But there's no right diet. It's all food. It's meat. milk, cheese, eggs, all genetically modified, bioengineered. Okay? Because people in the therapeutics world are not only releasing demons, but putting people on diets and starving them. So you think you're starving the demon. No, you're actually starving the actual person. And so people don't understand this balance. So they're releasing all these demons and they're not replacing those demons with you. Okay? Nope. You're not removing processed foods. Processed foods is the best thing, Andrew. See, you're one of those, which you have the right intent, but it's wrapped up in oxytocin. It's wrapped up in hypnotherapy. It's wrapped up in, I'm going to save you by starving you of food. I'm going to save you by releasing all the demons, but then scaring you away from the food supply. And so when a person is only relegated to organic food and lettuce and tomatoes and all this non-fat, gluten-free stuff, the person is starving. And that's why they're aging. If you're aging, then you allowed your clients to siphon off your energy. See, the therapeutics world is a double-edged sword. It's wrapped up in oxytocin, major oxytocin. It's wrapped up in the savior mentality. It's wrapped up in the starvation cultist because they're demonizing genetically modified. They're demonizing processed food. That's the most complex nutritional package you could ever get. And when a person does not get the most complex nutritional packet because they're so afraid to feel symptoms and they're always releasing demons, not realizing you have to feed the freaking demons and the body will release them as it needs to, then the person is starving. And guess what they look like? They weigh next to nothing. Their face is all drawn in. They've lost collagen. Oh, but they don't feel anything. They're at peace. That's called rest in peace. On your way out the door, dead. And so even though the therapeutics industry has good intentions, they're actually destroying their clients and themselves because the therapists are also practicing the same thing that they're putting on their patients. They're on major diets. They're demonizing the food supply. They're anti-vax or pro-vax. They are taking part in the binary-driven arguments. And then they think that releasing demons, because demons aren't bad. It's the fact that you have to learn how to work with them. But, I mean, the COVID-19, you can't get away from COVID-19. You can work with it. It's only a demon on a body at a deficit. So why don't you bring the body up instead of releasing things? Okay? There's glitchy programming you release. You can call it a demon, but that's the monotheistic, polytheistic, Illuminati way of explaining therapy. So a person's like, oh, I got demons. Oh, I got all these bad things in my body. So I got to go get antibiotics and I got to go get, Reiki done. I got to go get all this stuff. And so then the person is now a shell of themselves. There's nothing left to them. Because the medical, holistic, energy healing world has depleted their resources by scaring them away from meat, milk, cheese, eggs, processed food, everything. And also they go to see them and the person is getting all their lymph nodes released, but there's nothing being replaced because they can't even eat the food because they don't want to feel pain. So every time they feel pain, they have to go see a therapist to go release the demons, right? That's how they view it. And then the person ends up looking like they have aged years and years, but they don't feel anything. And that's the zombie society, is when you constantly go get therapy done because you have also wrapped up the spiritual world, the monotheistic, polytheistical world all together and said, okay, you have demons. And that's what these exorcists are doing. Exorcists are releasing demons, yes, but the person is a low sodium diet. And a lot of therapists out there, nutritionists and everything, they're afraid of the salt. They're afraid of sugar. They're afraid of freaking processed foods. And so no wonder they keep coming back to see the therapist. Or no wonder they keep having cancer, disease, and chronic illness. No wonder they're being possessed by a viral spirit. Because they're on low sodium diets. And so these exorcists are then trying to then do all this praying and energy stuff to get the demons out. When in reality, you just give them some freaking salt and it quells the damn demons. But see, no therapist would never recommend salt, because it would take money away from their business. Salt quells the demons. You can release demons with the Jejus doing the waterfalls, but the salt actually quells it. You're releasing excess stuff out of your body, but the salt quells the freaking demons. But you'll never see that in the holistic allopathic energy healing world. They're always about low sodium diets. They're always about, oh, you don't want to feel pain. You don't want to feel this, demonizing pain. And then call it demonic, so that way you can then go and say, I'm releasing the demons. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a crazy industry. And how I know a person is understanding the Jejus is they're not aging, they're not degrading, they're evolving with my information. The whole point of the JJ mentality is to reverse the aging process. So if you are a therapist and you're not reversing your own aging process, then not only is your clients cannibalizing you, but you're cannibalizing your clients. But you guys aren't taking each other anywhere different. You're taking each other over the cliff together. You're hand in hand walking over the cliff. You're taking their energy and they're taking your energy. And so you both are depleting each other, and it becomes a very revolving door in the energy healing world. Reiki, it is not, nope. Reiki is the same thing. Reiki is the same thing as any therapist in Reiki, massage therapy. I understand some people are like, oh, I'm in reflexology. There's some people on my post that are doing reflexology, and they understand the JJ mentality, and they're saying it was more for relaxation, but they have to reconfigure their business plan to reflect. But you already pointed yourself out, Andrea. You're into Reiki, so you're all about releasing demons. You're doing a whole mitigating against processed food, so you're already starving your clients. I don't want to hear anything more. You need to just be silent for right now. You don't understand. You're making a lot of money off clients that don't know any better. And in the meantime, you're also aging and degrading as well. So, who is liking all your... Oh, Andrea. Yeah, Andrea, you're... Yeah, I'm just going to take you off. Because you really don't get it. Yeah, block Andrea. The thing with people who are in the therapeutic world, I could feel the oxytocin. I could feel the oxytocin from her, and I could feel the manipulation. It is one thing to like someone like that is in the therapy world that understands the Jejus. And I don't know how they conduct their business. I'm not going to ask, but they understand the JJ mentality. The thing with pain, everyone's going to have to figure it out. I do have a lot more, I don't know. I have patience with some people. I don't have patience with a lot. Should I be across the board? But like, wow, if you're in reflexology or if you're in this and you're in that, then are you... And I know there has to be at some point an evolution in the therapy world. Nothing is cold turkey, and I understand that too. Oh my God. I'm reading, I don't know, hold on a second. Yeah. I'm going to read something. Yeah, this love and light. But anyways, there has to be some kind of transition. Some people understand the JJ mentality a lot more, and they're going to have to work on the transition. It's not up for me to figure that out. But if I know you understand the JJ mentality a lot more, then I'm going to be like, okay, your partner and you understand the JJ mentality. At some point, people are going to have to figure out how to transition from having to be under a therapy and then taking their clients' resources until they die, and then taking the person to a different level and then getting them onto the track of life instead of death. And so some people have that opportunity. Will they use it? I have no idea. It will be up to them. It's not for me to decide. Others of you that are coming back into the fold, like Andrea Folks, she was on my page a couple years ago. She's coming back now, but I don't know what attracted her. The whole Freemason and stuff and the Illuminati stuff, possibly. And so sometimes posting what I post will attract old people because they're like, oh, she's into the conspiracy world now. I can go and prop up all my therapeutics. I'm dealing with the devil stuff. And you know how easy it is to get sucked into, oh, we're releasing demons. But demonic, it's, what is demonic? I mean, people do horrible things. Well, maybe look, there's the seven gods of Sumer, okay? And they all keep a balance. Okay, if you don't want to have demonic activity, you throw salt in the person. They're not a demon anymore. They're not going down the dark road. Okay? But that's the thing with Andrea. She doesn't understand that. She hasn't been following me. She's just coming in the middle and talking about, about mitigating processed foods and diets and acting like, she's this angel of death. Okay? And so that's the thing, is that I'm over all of that. I'm just done with all of that. So not everybody that was with me in the beginning is going to stay with me now. And I don't want to deal with the oxytocin princesses out there. And not only is she an oxytocin princess, but there's a lot of oxytocin princesses that are out there that I know about. They're keeping silent. But I know about it, but I'm going to post what I post. Okay, we all have been programmed to be a specific archetype based upon the Greek mythology, the Greek history, the archetypes of the Sumerian pantheons. We've all been programmed. Now it's time to deprogram from being the oxytocin princess to being the devil, to being whatever it is that, like the all sacrificing mommy and the oh, I'm the strong savior daddy. I mean, yeah, it's fun and it's great to fit into that, because then when you're the strong man, then you're gonna go find your princess to go and save. I mean, then it turns into Disney. Then you're like, oh wow, this person's enacting Disney again, And so these archetypes are all about the Greek history, Greek mythology. And I love that term, the oxytocin princess. So the empaths, instead of saying empaths, oxytocin princesses, they're all about love and light. They're all about just, releasing demons. It's that whole binary driven thing. It's easy for me to fall into because I'm like, oh, Julie just releases the demon. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm already falling into the binary driven arguments. But in reality, the salt is what quells all the diagnosable conditions that would look like something demonic. Okay? Salt quells the demons, so to speak. Salt quells fast replicating viruses. Salt quells cancer. Salt quells all cancer, disease, and chronic illness. But you got to feel it. But you also cannot use like so much of the J juice where you don't feel anything, because you're going to have to deal with the viruses. You can't be in a cured state. And so when you're aging and you're degrading and you are looking like you're the crypt keeper and there's no fat to you, what are you doing? You're cannibalizing your clients, and their clients are cannibalizing you. So that's why the medical holistic industry, they work well together with their clients, because they're both cannibalizing each other. Okay? And so I haven't seen a really obese therapist out there. You know why? Because people wouldn't see an obese therapist in the health and wellness world. They'd be like, well, you're supposed to be healthy. And so it would take someone who's already been cannibalized to go and try to cannibalize the other person. They're cannibal. And so, I see a lot of these Reiki therapists or these massage therapists or whatever that weigh next to nothing, because they had to find a balance of not being too obese, but not being totally skeletal. They look like they're the Walking Dead. And so they're somewhere in the middle. And so then they become the oxytocin princesses, and they're like, ooh, love and light, let me touch you, let me do this to you, whatever. So anyways, it's kind of where I'm going and what I've been doing, but I'm going to go. But I just wanted you guys to hear about the connection between the Illuminati and the Catholic Church. And it is all, my poor doggy, I can fear it. I did pull off one flea. What you doing, sugar? Hi, honey. I gave her like 2 baths last night, but it's okay. The weather just has to get colder, right, Shuggy? It's okay, sugar. It's okay, Shuggy. All right. Maybe she's just itchy because of virus too, because the virus is very itchy. as well. But I did pull off one flea this morning. But whatever. But I wanted to show you the connection between the Catholic Church and the Freemasons and the Judeo Christian world. It's all the same. It's all the same. And if you think there's a difference, it's because you don't want to evolve. And those that don't want to evolve will be like, oh, the metaverse is satanic. Oh, this is satanic. You're going to see people using the word satanic left and right from those who don't want to evolve, or the word demonic. And so now I have to watch how I use the word demonic, because then it'll already elicit somebody to be like, oh, well, I will release the demons. Oh, I'll save you from the demon activity. And when you think about it, salt quells aggressive energy. Salt will be a catalyst to allow the programming to go, but salt also quells, because it's the ionic activity. All the electrons will be met by the ion, so ion to ion, and anything that's excess will then bleed out to the other. It'll go off like it's like water on a platform. The excess water will just splash off to the next thing. That's what the salt does to a cancer cells. Any excess electrons will then go and activate other cells that are not cancerous. And so then you cure that one fast replicating cell, and the other ones are getting activated. They're not as fast replicating. So cancer cells can be cured by the salt. So do viral demonic entities. And so I don't want to hear anyone saying that they're using their job to release demons and they're putting them on starvation diets. I don't want to hear anyone say that. And Andrea came in the middle, and she did not know where she was coming from with my information. I know where she's coming from, but that's not the JJ mentality. And so the person has to deal with all the crap and release it in the beginning, and then recode their body with the new viral entities. And they're going to have to feel pain. You cannot release the pain with anything. You have to feed it. You have to feed it. And so I don't know how some of the therapies world out there are going to transition. Some of you have an idea, maybe, and when you figure out how you're going to do your stuff, without cannibalizing your clients, I'd be curious to know. But I'm not going to get in the middle of that. That's your business. Some of you, are very in tune with what's going on and are in the medical holistic system. How you're going to transition from that to this, you will figure it out. But some people I know haven't even figured out the JJ mentality, much less me thinking they're going to figure out how to transition. So I don't really have hope for them. So I just kind of left them to the wayside because they cherry pick my information. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.